My name is Veronica McAlister. Yvette is what everybody knows me by in New Albany, where my home base is. I was in school there for 4 years after I came back from Ripley. I love sports. I developed a love for sports when I was out in the backyard playing with my cousins. It was all boys. I was a tomboy. I wanted to be out there running and jumping with them. It was fun, but never really saw anything as far as basketball with that. I wanted to be the next Wilma Rudolph. I was gonna be her. In track, I was really fast. It was my goal to beat everybody. Outside, running the streets, bare feet, getting in trouble with socks on, tearing them up. But I mean, I just really love sports, and the competition was always there for me because everybody wanted to beat me, and I wanted to beat them. And somewhere along the line, I just developed a love for it. I had cousins who told me that you could really play this game if you got serious about it, but I was still stuck on track. So when I lived in Ripley for 3 years and then came back to New Albany. So when I got back, the coach that was there prior, Coach Brownie Tohill, that's my coach right there, basketball and track, he made a deal with me because when I came back, the first thing I asked was, do you have a track team and can I be on it? And he was like, sure you can run track. You play basketball? And I was like, no, sir. He was like, I'm gonna need you to play basketball. I was like, I don't know how to play basketball. I don't want to play basketball. He said, well, I'll tell you this, if you play basketball for me, just try out. You can be on my track team. I said, without trying out? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I can do that because I can always just sit on the bench or something. I don't. And so, I mean, I tried out and I made it, but I was like, probably on the third string or something like that. I was just happy to be there. So I was like, yes. I said, but when track season comes, I knew where my gift was at that time. But as we continue to go through the season and all that, of course I tried, and there were times that was just awful. I'm shooting air balls and bricks. And he just talked to me over and over about, hey, try this, try that. And I was just like, okay, but I really didn't want to do it. I just really wanted to run track, so I kept doing it. And I got better and better. So he kept working with me, and I started like, okay, I can get with this. But as he talked to me, he always, now that's one thing about Coach Tohill, and that he would ask you about you and your life. Like, what is it that you want to do? Once I was in high school, I was very focused on going to college. I wanted to be the first one on my maternal side to go to college and get a degree. And so he said, I know you love, this was my junior year, which I really got pretty good in basketball at that time as well. And that he said, I know you want to run track in college. I know that's what you want to do. He said, but I can guarantee you that basketball will be your way to college. It'll get you paid for it. You already got your grades right. He said, but I can help you get there if that's what you really want. And I was like, that's what I really want. And so then I started listening and paying attention more about what he was saying. And then there was opportunities. He said, like, hey, Northeast has a basketball camp up there. And I was like, who wants to spend their summers playing a sport that they just, But he said, remember what you told me you wanted? And I was like, yes, sir. And so I ended up going to Northeast basketball camp my junior year, like when I finished my junior year. And most people don't really go to that as a first-time thing, but I knew what I wanted to do. And if Coach Tohill said to do it, then I felt like, hey, he showed me from 10th to 11th, and I grew that much. So I went there. And, of course, Coach Ricky Ford was the coach at that time there. And so as I was playing and going and doing all the little drills and stuff that I thought I was better than some people that, they really showed me up. I didn't like that. So I got to where I would work a little harder, and so I ended up getting, I think, like one of the best defensive players or something at the camp. And so during my senior year, I started hearing back from Coach Ford at Northeast, and he was just like, hey, you're doing good, blah blah blah, whatever. And have you thought about playing basketball in college? I was like, I'll do whatever in college just to go to college because I wanted to be able to have a degree. And he, offered me a scholarship. Thankfully, it was a great team that was already established there because I graduated in '86. The year before I graduated, Northeast girls had went to the national championship and lost the final game. And so when he offered me an opportunity to be there, with half of the group was still there, and so he was just trying to get his team together, and I felt honored to be a part of that. Unfortunately, that summer of my senior year, I guess it was a positive and a negative, in that I was the first female athlete at WP Daniel High School, which is New Albany now, to win the Bulldog Award. That was something that was always given to every male. So I didn't even know anything about it till they said you won. And so I just called my mom and they said somebody won the Bulldog Award. And then I found out, later what it meant and that I was the first one. So I was like, wow, that really meant something. And so I was able to be a part of the All-Star team for the summer. You got your North and your South that you play that senior year. Got down there, because we go for a week. You're down there for a week. Got there that Sunday evening. I got hurt. Tore ligaments in my ankle on that Tuesday. So I never even got to play in the All-Star game. I was sick about that. Crying, called my mom was the first thing that I did. Told my dad, what am I going to do now? Because I was supposed to have a scholarship to Northeast. But I did call and ask Coach Ford first. I said, can I play in the game? Because I heard when you get scholarships, you can't play. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So then I was crying, and my mom said, you just got to call him and tell him. So when I called him from Jackson and let him know what happened, and I was like, so I don't know what I'm going to do about college now. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, because, I can't play, and so my scholarship is gone. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he was like, you still have your scholarship. I can still play for you? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, he said, you're not going to be in the cast forever. How long you got? And we went through this whole thing. I mean, it was I knew then that I made the right choice in allowing him to be my coach and him being able to choose me. So we got there, and I did all the rehab and all that, and it was really great. Coach Ford, between Coach Tohill with basketball and track, I think I just developed that sense of hard work, ethics, and discipline. So whatever they told me to do to get myself well, to be ready to play, because I did owe that team that, I did. And got well, got back out there. They were runner-up the year before, and they told all freshmen coming in, freshmen, we don't plan on going back and not winning. You came in a brace, already with your leg messed up, so we don't really know why he got you in the first place. And of course, I'm 17 and played strong and hard, and then I went to the room and cried, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do, But I kept working hard, got out there, and then I was able to show what we did. And that team, that collaborative team, that year, we went on to win a national championship for junior college basketball. And so I was like, I was in it to win it then. I ended up getting a scholarship from there, full scholarship from there as well, to University of West Alabama is what it's called now. Then it was Livingston University over in Alabama. Did good there. Team was average. We won about as many as we lost. But I didn't have a losing season there. That was the point there. And but it just wasn't the same, and I kind of I didn't like the fact that we were losing so much, because I was used to coming from at New Albany. I'll go back for that and preface that real quick, in that our girls were the first girls at that time to be able to make it to North Half. Our guys were winning all the time, and we was like, hey, y'all, let's see if we can get in and get some of that. But now we dominated in the track aspect. The girls was all of that in the track. And so we was like, well, we got some of the same people. Let's put that forward to that. So the fact that we made it, I remember who beat us. I think it was North Panola. Had a girl about 6'7", looked like she just put my stuff everywhere. So anyway, I'll come back. But anyway, the fact that we made it there, that was really good. And I think the following years where he really had put together a team, and I think John Stroud came in, and the girls ended up going on to stay. So I think we kind of set a precedent in that if you work hard, if you stay disciplined, if you really want it, you can get it. And that's and whatever in life. That was my whole thing there. In college, like I said, I wanted it to be paid for. When I graduated, any college that I went to, everything was done, because I had an academic and athletic scholarship. So I was really proud of that. I have daughters, and I kind of set that standard for them as well. Now, to get to the point of me coaching basketball was never, ever, ever in my mindset. I was going to go to law school, too, when I was at Livingston. So it was a lot of history classes, and I didn't know that. I guess I was thinking I would just be history, the law history, not all the rest. And so I had all those classes, and by the time I was graduating, I had a dual degree, physical education, had a bachelor's in that, Bachelor of Science in Physical Education with a minor in health. And so it was there for me to do. I got out, graduated from there, had a couple of children, and decided I wanted to finish another part of my education. And so as I was working, I started taking classes, and I graduated from Ole Miss. And so they were just like, so what do you want to do? And I was like, elementary education. So I had that, but all the history classes that I had social studies too, and I didn't realize that. So they was like, you can do both. So I taught elementary for 6 years. I was at Verona Elementary in Verona, Mississippi, and everybody kept talking like, you need to coach, you need to coach. I was like, I'll coach some peewee. You know, these are little children, you can tell what to do. So we had a little basketball team at Verona Elementary, and so I would coach them, but I was like all offensive. I was like, you know, and they were just like, see, I told you can do. I was like, these are children, they have to do what you say, you know, smaller children. But as my time there, I grew from there. I really enjoyed my time at Verona Elementary. Learned a lot. I had a principal, Tamika Shannon, who she just kind of took me under her wing, and every professional development you could think of, that's where I was. Okay, so, I mean, I really did, and that was good. I was voted Teacher of the Year there before I left. I had a goal. Everything I have is goal-oriented, and I said, if I'm going to be somewhere in 5 years, I saw that lady get Teacher of the Year. I said, I want that. I went to her, what do you do? How do I become that? And so, with all that, I felt that my time there was ready for me to do something else. So a friend invited me to Oklahoma. And I was supposed to be going to the junior high for English language arts, and the teacher there was supposed to be moving up with her class or whatever it was. I was going to step into her position, and she decided not to go. I was like, so what does that mean for me? And they was like, oh, but so you have physical education here. What do you? I was like, yeah. I was just like, if I ever would, you know, like coach track or something, I would like to do that. Y'all don't have a track, so I'm good. I'll just do England. They was like, no, seriously. Our coach is leaving. The girls' coach is leaving. You want to coach? It's like, I've never coached before. Like, I said little children, but not for real, for real. They was like, no, you do know you get additional money for that. I said, oh, wait a minute. Then let me. So what it look like? And so I was like, oh, I can try it. I can try to coach for a year. I believe I can. And so they was like, well, the girls basketball team. And so that first year was pretty rough. But they just told me, hey, they've been down for a little minute, which I was like, that meant I didn't have I could just do a little something and it would look great. So that first year, we made it to the division. We did well in the division and made it into the playoffs. So that was like the first time in a long time that they had been back to the playoffs. So I was really glad with the coaching staff that I had around me, and everybody was so helpful. Word kept coming back and forth to me every time. For people who I didn't even know when I was coaching initially, they was like, just be competitive, because the girls they were not used to winning, but if you can teach them to be competitive, and I think you'll see a growth in your program as you stay. And I have seen that. The first year, this will be my 4th year here coaching high school girls basketball. My 3rd year teaching junior high. After the first year, they said that I wanted to build my team because I had what was inherited. So I had to do that, and I said I want to see who I can pick and who I can get out there. So, I had some friends here. Of course, I didn't know the younger children down there was like, oh, you need to get this person, you need to get that person. And I believe that how you want to run, how you want to do this, that's how they do. And I was like, okay, then let me go, introduce myself. Okay, so, and when I started coaching junior high basketball, we went 16-0 my first year at junior high, and it went 14-0. COVID kind of set a lot of games back, so they were undefeated for 2 years. And so those young ladies, I was actually able to move up some 8th graders to my 9th grade, and just the pairing up of that. And so then we saw some improvement in our high school. And so we just kept growing. My first year, we were like in a division of 5, we were 5th, 4th. Next year, we were 4th again. And I was like, I don't know about all these 4th places and stuff like that, because I'm used to winning. I need some of that, you know. And they was like, it'll come, you know. It's a growth process, and the people that you need to be gone, they'll be gone before long, and then you could whoever you wanted, you know. So I was able to fine tune them. And last year we got up to number 2 in our division. And so now this year we are number 1 in our division for the first time in the history. As far as the people that's taken up with the history has told me. So I'm really excited about that because the coaching staff that I have working with me there, I mean, we really can collaborate together really well. The girls understand my philosophy. Scholar athlete. As hard as you work and you want to play on that court, you better do the same thing in your classroom because that's the way my mom made it. My dad made it, college educated. Everybody might not go to college, that's fine. But you're definitely not going to be doing an extracurricular while failing. Okay, so my mom, that was really established with her, and my dad, I just saw it, him going to Northeast and the history of him. But I just want to trail my own to be able to work hard, but the commitment and the dedication, sports does that. And so I just want to share that. And even in class where I have students in high school, you may not ever play a sport, but you owe it to yourself to be the best. Be great because you can be, and that's something that I say like all the time. And I keep weekly words of wisdoms up every week. So they have to come in and they'll read it. I said if they keep a record of it, at the end of the year I give them a little something. But basketball did exactly what Coach Brownie told me in 10th grade. If you want to go to college, if you want to get it paid for, keep your grades like they are, work hard, have a good work ethic. And I've always been that way. My mom said that from day one. I'm always going to be the mediator, trying to make things work. Basketball just helped bring all the, and the being tomboyish, because the boys want to beat you, because they're not going to let a girl beat them. But, so I mean, that's just, I love the sport. I'm growing to love the coaching aspect of it. I keep having epiphanies. I told my coach, I had an epiphany. This is what I need to do. What I learned over the course of coaching is that the fact that I didn't really know how to coach or what to do, you have to research. Just like I do any other class that I teach, and I didn't make that connection. So when I started watching videos, when I started listening to podcasts, when I started looking up things that I know my coach told me about, different things that we do on the court. If you're a coach, you have to teach that. You know how to do it, and then how do you do that with different levels of talent? And so that I didn't know how to really work that. But they were just like it's in a classroom. You have differentiated instruction. It's the same for them. Some people are going to come to you already know how to play ball, but they don't know how to follow rules. So I'm the rule maker now. Okay, so I can do that. I love the sport. I love what it brings to individuals that play it. I have received a lot of accolades, and half of them I didn't even know what they meant. So someone contacted me before I went back looking at trophy because my mom keeps everything. And I saw that I was all county here, something there, and I didn't know what it meant. I honestly didn't. No one told me. My coach said, "Hey, you won all county," and I'm like, "Okay, put it over there." I gave it to my mama, and she kept it for me. And when they came calling for this, I was like, "Oh," because now I have players that have made all county, and I understand what that means and what they can do for them, especially academic and athletic wise. If that's something they know they want to go further than high school, and so I try my best to be there for them. Hey, I told them it's hard. It's hard, but life is hard, and you have to work for everything that you get, and then pass it along. Once you can do it, that's your. What's your legacy? That's my thing. Because we're going into division play now. I ordered some from my friend. She made me some. It says "Be legendary," because I always ask them what is that. And our theme has been for the last couple of years for basketball is trust the process. But I tell them you trust the process in everything you do. Whether it's sports, life, what's your thing you want to do? Trust the process and then be legendary. That's my thing. Like some of the players that I have, they probably been since like Pee Wee's type stuff. When the Pee Wee things were going on with basketball, I wasn't in that. I was in the Hershey's relays. that's where I was. I was 6'7", beating 10 and 15-year-olds because I was just so fast. So that was my focus. No one had to teach me how to run. No one had to teach me how to be fast. But in organized sports such as basketball, man, I got to college. And thank you, Coach Ford. Sorry, Coach Tohill, I wasn't listening when you taught pick and roll. Because I was so fast, I just run down there, give it the ball, and I go. But when you get with a lot of stars in colleges, it's different. Everybody has something great that they do. Defensively, that was me. Now, who you want me to guard? I want the best person. Because I'm going to show them you don't have anything on me. But now that big girl from Nola Slow smacked my stuff about 3 or 4 times on offense. But once again, you have to get past that. She can't block your shot and catch the ball at the same time. So if she blocked me, I caught it, I put it back up. So where we at? So I try to tell them, like, everything doesn't have to be so hard that we're taking the fun out of it. And sometimes it wasn't fun. And so, but that's life. You'll have happy moments, you'll have down moments, you have great moments, but in everything, just be thankful for the opportunity. And so, and some of the players that came to me, that I have some freshmen. I had when I came here, I had a freshman 5. I was like so excited that no one had them yet. And so I was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna have. And then, things happen. You have people move away. And they're like, oh Lord, that's one of my starting 3-point shooters. Or like, oh, then she goes over here, she moves out, and I'm like, that was my guard. That was my number 1 point guard. Like, okay, now I'm having to regroup. And so those things really can get to you now that I see, like, as a coach, like, y'all have to put up with us. And so now you're them and I'm you, and I'm like, whoa, this is what they had to do. But for the coaches that really had more than just your sport in mind, they wanted you to be an overall good person. That's what I had. That's what I had in Coach Brownie Tohill. That's what I had in Coach Ricky Ford. Jimmy Satcher, who's no longer with us, God rest his soul. When I went to the University of West Alabama, that was not the primary thing. I guess he thought once you got to the university level, you already know what you're doing. But I still need your feedback. People still need to say, hey, you're doing a good job, or this is what you need to work on, because that's the only way we can get better. So I'm kind of hard on them. In and out of the classroom. No, I don't have to know all your business out there in the streets, but you represent me. So if you're going to be listed as Coach Veronica McAlister's player, then you're going to act as such. Like I've shown you things, you've learned manners, all of those things I try to teach in my classroom and on the court. And so anybody knows me, they'll say that, and that I'm very structured. I am structured, but I got that from 2 main teachers. And so Ms. Ruth Hill and Ms. Bradsfield. I know Ms. Bradsfield, they know that she did not play, but I loved every minute that I was in that class, because the same thing that my coach in high school was talking about, being committed to something, she said that. Do your work the best you can do it every time. You don't just give somebody any type of work. You can't just go out there and play ball any way that you want to when you play in an organized sport. When you grow up, you're going to have to be collaborative. As an educator, I got to be able to connect with my other teachers. As a first year, man, it is not like college and teaching practice. It's not the same. You're up there, you're in the class, you control your classroom. How are you going to do that? And so I think with the combination of all the people, the adults that were in my life, in my learning time with sports and academics, really helped me solidify the type of person that I was going to be. But my mom said I was like that from a very early age. My dad was like, that's going to be the one right there that's going to be telling everybody what to do. And he was right, because I like that. I like telling people. I always said I was going to be the teacher. It's my house. We play teacher. Okay? We used to play, and that was another thing. That was, by me being the only child and my brother 7 years younger than me, we had our own stuff. So, like, for basketball, I was the coach and the player, Football, I did that. Baseball, come to my house. I made ribbons for us in track, I marked off 100 yards. This is 100 yards. I know it is, because I ran that, and it was like, you're so bossy. It's my yard, my toys. I don't see anything wrong with that. But it did help in that I was structured. I wanna go by, and I wanna teach them to be their best that they can be all the time. You know, things will happen in life that'll make you that hurts your feeling, hurts your heart. You go through stuff, but you can either let it break you, or you can let it build you up and get that strength that you need to get to keep on going, because somebody else is looking to you. And so that's what I've always been taught. You know, something you never know. I teach my students, taught my children. Character is who you are when you think no one is watching you. I like that quote, and that it says, character is who you are when no one is watching. No, you know when, like here, it's only 2 people in here, no one's watching. But I could be up and down the hall and see someone, but someone could see me and I not see them. How I conduct myself may either help or deter that person. I got to be responsible for that, whether I know it or not. So put yourself out there right. There'll be times that you'll apologize, because I've had to do that, and I teach them that too. When you're wrong, you're just wrong. Apologize for that. Fix what you can fix while you can, and then continue to be great. That's it. Just be great because you can be. That's what I try to live by. I really do.
That's awesome.
No, I was just all over the place.
No, you did great. You did great. When you said you moved from Ripley.
Well, I stated probably from K through 6. My mom has a lot of family out of state, because they're from like out of state. So I was born in Tupelo, Mississippi. My home base, anywhere that my mom ever moved to or from, we always came back to New Albany. So New Albany is the home base. From K6, I was in and out of Wisconsin, Michigan, wherever my mom had family, we would stay there. But New Albany would be the place. For 7th through 9th grade, we moved to Ripley. We had family there. I had a great aunt that lived there, and so we just went up there with her because she was elderly a little bit. We didn't stay with her, but we were in that place. And I looked, because I was like, you took me from track, and they don't even have a track. And I was like, you don't have a track? Like, this is me in 7th grade. And I was like, you should have said that before we moved, because I would have said I didn't want to move. I could stay with my daddy. So like that, I don't know. I was mad, because I was like, how am I going to be Wilma Rudolph if we don't have a track? And you know that. You know I wanted to do that. And so she was like, well, she said, they ain't got no track. Do they do track meets? I was like, I don't know. She said, well, ask. And so I went and asked the coach. I found out who did track. And I was like, yeah, we go to track meets. I said, what a track? Y'all don't have track meets here because you don't have a track. It was like, we just run around our old football field. And I was like, oh, okay. He said, but we don't have enough girls, and don't nobody want to run anymore. And I was like, so how many do we need? Like, if I can get some people to run track, can we do a track team? And he was like, yeah, shoot. I got to run around that school. People I didn't know. I was like, you look like you can run. Do you run? You don't have to run track. You know. So next thing I know, we was out there running track for 7th and 8th grade, and 9th grade while I was there. 8th grade, I think 7th and 8th grade, they might have asked me to play basketball, but I was like just on the team because I didn't want to babysit my little brother, so I wanted to be gone. So just the travel, I was like, sure, yeah. I made the basketball team, and they're gonna let me try to do the track team. So can I be on the teams? Well, sure, she said, and I was like, yes. And so we ended up doing really well for the track. They never had a track at the school.
That was at Ripley?
In Ripley. At the time I was there in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Here at Oklahoma, we don't have a track either. So I took what we did. I said, oh, y'all run around a football field. That's what you can do. Is that the same? It's the same distance, give or take a little bit. If I make you run longer, then if it's shorter where you go, you'll beat them. And so that was the whole purpose I had here. We did good, really good in track. The first year was COVID, so we didn't get to do it. Second year we had some people come out. We did really good. Went to when I was in North Half, had a few girls to really place well in there. Last year we didn't get to make it. An error on my part in putting something in, then they wouldn't let us get back in. Talking about soul crushing. And then the fact that you have to tell these young ladies who work so hard. But I was honest. I was just like, y'all, it was nobody's fault. I erred. I put in the wrong thing, and it put us in a different division. And by the time that they sent us the confirmation, it was past time for me to be registered in the other one. So I had to tell them. And, but those girls are still waiting on me this year. They was like, oh, we're going to get them now. But we need you to talk with somebody else while you putting your stuff in, or don't let nobody be in the room while you typing stuff. Because, you know, you be talking, And then, yeah, just make sure we get it. So, the boys went to state last year. I feel like our girls are going to be there too. So, that'll be an amazing thing that if I can get the history making to continue, because that's what I said I wanted to do when I got here. Everything for me is, and I told my mom last night we were talking, was in 5-year increments. I feel like I set goals daily, but like for long term, I put them at 5 years, because you need to, what effort are you making to make those goals come true? I write down, I have to-do lists every day, checking off. I can't function without my to-do list. If it's gonna be in my phone, it's gonna be on a piece of paper, I got a strip there. Talking about that, those people right here hadn't turned in their notebooks. Got a note for them. You don't turn in today, you gotta F, because it's been 2 weeks. Okay, so with the sports and stuff like that, I'd be like, come on, what do you see yourself doing? Some of them really want to go play college ball. I can tell you, it was not always easy. It's hard work. So the hard work that I make you do in my classes with the work, those are standards. I have to teach those. You have to get it in order to pass. Now, what I liked about my mom and dad, in that if you want to play a sport, you want to be in an extracurricular activity, your grades better be right. And I had 2 daughters, unfortunately, they did not want to play basketball. It's like, we're not going behind you in basketball. You this and you that. We're not going to do that. But they ran track for me, and they were great. And I was like, yeah, I got a sport. And they played softball, which, of course, I would have played softball if New Albany had had that when I was there. They didn't, and so I was mad that I didn't get the good 3 sports like they did. But all in all, I just, hard work, that's the standard. I used to tell my daughter when they were little, when you go out, when they left, I would say, go to school. Their response was to be and learn something. So that was it. Go to school, learn something. When you came home, I asked you, what did you learn? And I think that's something that, I may be getting a little off subject here, but that's something that we got to get back to, as far as like parent, guardian. I don't care who it is that has the children, but how can I say this? I'm just going to say it because I've always been that person that's going to say what's on my mind. And that you have to work with your children. You have to give them accolades when needed, then you have to get on them when they need a push in the right direction. A lot of what I'm seeing now is they just don't have that connection anymore. And so you just the basic manners. So any commitment level that you have, we do a lot of work in class. You got to do your work. We do a lot of work on the court and on that track. You got to work if you are wanting to be your best. If you want to have all A's and B's, you can't just not do anything. And so I push them. I push them. And so they be mad at, but then I have that whole thing when they say, when the children come back, some of your students, like, man, Miss Mac, I sure appreciate you pushing me, because, man, English lit, that was hard, man, in the school or something like that. And they was like, but, you showed us a little, hints and how to do and all this type of stuff. Even though I don't teach English, I did in elementary. But I just brought that over because some of the discrepancies and for the differentiated instruction that we must have is very disheartening. Now, some stuff I try to be hard, like they know that's me. I'm like, yeah. But when it comes to that, and I see 10th graders who you number 1 in basketball, track, or whatever, and all that kind of stuff, but you can barely read. I got a problem with that. So you can't play for me like that. I will not allow you to do that. And so you'll have parents that have conversations, but I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, you're not going to change my mind. Excuse me, sir, you're not. Because my daughters did both. Well, they had you for a mama. Yeah, but they still had teachers at school that they had to listen to, pay attention to, because at some point, my daughter was taking trig. I never took trig. But you better believe I was looking at that trig homework like I kind of knew what she was. She know I didn't. She know I didn't. But I'm going to ask you about it. You got to be able to tell me what your teacher taught you in trig today. She cried coming home. It's so hard. Why do you have me taking these hard classes? I said, because you're going to be college ready. I know, but like, I don't really have to have it. And I was like, you do. One tried to sneak around and, because you can, when you get in high school, you can make your own schedule for the most part. I was like, no. Can you put it in your file that anytime they get ready to make schedules, the dates come around, mother needs to be present. Thank you. Sure do. So every time they did, they would send me a letter. I go up there and no, you're not going to take this because you're higher than that. What they got? They got some advanced something? Yeah, let her try that. So-and-so, yes. And Tupelo is where they went to school, and they had an opportunity to get all that. So I try to take everything I learned from them and I'll bring it to whatever school that I'm at. If they don't have it, we're going to work it in. So hard work, drive, commitment, everybody can work on that if you want it. Now, I tell my players and anybody else that I meet, especially in a leadership capacity, we can teach you everything but want. We can teach you everything but want. And they're just like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, you, W-A-N-T, for one, so I can make sure you understand it, because they be like, won't. No, want. W-A-N-T. You can want something. You can want something from the store, but if you don't get up and leave from here, will you have it? You know what they say? Yeah, because I can just tell my mama to get it. Wow, you're right. But if your mom got it and they won $1,000, $1 million, because she bought that one thing and it was the prize of the day, she gonna get it to you? They're like, no, she gonna keep it. So then what she gains is hers. What you gain is yours. Nobody can take this from you. If you continue to learn and continue to grow, no one can take different. Only you can do that. So, and I have these conversations every day. I have been blessed to be in school systems for me since I've been teaching, to have that ability to do that. The Lord called me to teaching. That was something that I knew I was going to do probably since I was like 2nd or 3rd grade. I knew I was going to be a teacher. But I thought I could be a teacher and an actress and a lawyer at the same time. So that's what I was going to do. I have had 2 opportunities to be on stage at Tupelo Community Theater. I was in a show, Time to Kill. And then, I forget the other one, but I was excited. I did that at 50. Because when I turned 50, I said, I'm going to do something outside of whatever. I always said I wanted to act. And I had, like, severe stage fright when I was in high school. I wanted to try for a cheerleader because they were so cute and they looked whatever. Shoot, I learned all them cheers that week or 2 when they were doing all that. The day of the trials, I was just like, I don't know, it's just like, I don't know. I think I must have had 2 or 3 panic attacks. I couldn't do it. And then I was mad because a couple of girls that made it, I was like, I'm better than them. But yeah, I couldn't do it. But all that, you have to tell them, just keep trying, keep pushing yourself. If it's something that you really want to do, you'll work at it and you'll be great at it because you know that that's an investment that you want for yourself. And that's what I've been doing here. As far as basketball, it got real rough. Simply because, and my daughter finally just told me, she said, Mama, because she keep hearing me, listening to me, being upset, and why don't they get it? Why I don't understand? And she said, because you're used to being a winner. Remember what they told you, that you have inherited a team that doesn't know about that. So if they haven't won, they don't know how to win. That's on you to show them. That's on you to teach them. So I had to go back to that again. Oh, I'm the teacher of this. And so just over the course of the years, I've really grown, and people who have been around me, I've been blessed enough to have people here. The coach, the male coach here, he's won the state championship. Ontario Clifton, he's won. So I'm definitely going to listen to what he has to say. Other people, that everybody just on the bandwagon to know that I want to be the best, and they try to help me in any way they can. I can ask, they volunteer, they see stuff, and it's been working. So I'm just keep that same drive, and I'm excited about it. So we're getting ready to head into playoffs here in the next couple of weeks. So we're gonna see how that go. But each thing is a growth on the path to what I said I wanted to do in the 5 years. So I'm excited. I was last year, I was nominated as Coach of the Year for our division. Because I was sitting there and I was like, who? It was like, you. And I was like, okay. And I was like, but I didn't have a winning season. But they're they saying the growth that they have seen in this program. And so I'm excited about that, and we're just going to keep moving forward, because I told them the ultimate goal is now the gold ball, and because we're doing that academically on our side with the school. Did I say that we're a B-rated school? And we're just seeing growth all around, so I want to be able to make that connection. And so there's just things that I want to do for my players. And like I said, the community. I had wanted to just develop a scholarship. I don't know what name I came up with as of yet. Don't want it, me personally, I don't want my name on it, but I don't know if you ever heard of Donors Choose. That I set up a Donors Choose last year in order to get some of the supplies and stuff that we needed for my school. We have a Rebounders Club, and they provide a lot of things for us, but some things are just so expensive. And so I went online there, and it was like, well, what is your theme? What are you going to like? I'm like, the lady that told me, Bill, I was like, you didn't tell me I had to come up with all this stuff now. And so she was like, well, you got to come up with a name. It's got to connect and all. And I was like, I don't know. And so they was like, but think about what you want to do. And I was like, well, I said, well, I have goals, and I be making them have goals, you know. And I said, that's what I need them to do. They got to do this. And she was like, so what do you mean? And I was like, they just need to go grab it, you know. And I was like, girls grabbing goals. So I think that may be the name of my scholarship. But I think if I were to put that out there, knowing that because I want to be able to have. There's a lot of things that I want to do, and I want to use that as my frame of reference for stuff, and just be able to connect to that. Girls grabbing goals. I have anything against young men, that's them, and that's fine. They're always going to have somebody, because basketball, football, any sport, 9 times out of 10 is always geared toward guys. And we have a lot of talented young women out there, and so I want to be able to give them that opportunity to be seen and be shown. I want to develop a scholarship for my highest GPA athlete, my student athlete. So they was like, well, why don't you just ask people, because that's that pride issue thing. You don't ever want to ask folks for stuff. But I want to be able to have that for them, for my junior high and high school, but definitely for my high school graduates, because that's the thing. I should be making sure that these girls leave here with their high school diplomas in order to be able to live good lives, and knowing how to work and how to manage money and all those things. So I think I do okay. I've had some people to come back, and then some just, man, she was so hard. She didn't have to be that hard and still, but life is hard. And you continue to work and you grow, and that's something, being a perpetual learner. I think that's what every educator does, and as a coach, that is something that I have to continue to do as well. So I'm excited. I'm gonna keep pushing until I get the ultimate goal that I've set for myself. So I'm excited.